not bad advice.
I learned what love is one time. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go. But you're doing too much and you don't but when I know it's when you try to hold on to my...
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to have you here in today's video. If you're new here, hi, my name is Bri, and a little background about myself is I love to travel. That is literally one of my favorite things to do, and being able to document so many of my journeys and share it here with you guys, and just even like people in my personal life is also something that brings me so much joy. And as of recently, I kind of got into solo traveling. I started back in 2023. I took my first ever solo trip, and it was international. I went to Antigua in the Caribbean. It was for my 25th birthday. I had an amazing time, and I've been hooked ever since. I was already addicted to traveling. Solo traveling is a different game, and if you're watching this video, then you probably want to know how to get started, how to become a solo traveler. I got you. But yeah, just a little more about my traveling. I've been specifically solo traveling. I've been on 3 trips. My first one was Antigua, my second one was Guatemala, and then my third one, which I took at the beginning of the year, was in London. My first time ever in Europe. All the trips have been amazing, and that will not be my last solo trip because, again, I am addicted to solo traveling. And you might be too once you take your first trip. I get questioned so many times, how do you solo travel? How do you get started? And so I was like, let me break down a video because it's not easy, especially if you're not used to doing things alone. So my number one tip, I'm just going to dive right into it. You need to get comfortable doing things by yourself. In my city, I do things by myself all the time, and it could be something as simple as going to the movies. I love going to the movies, and I will often do that alone. And it's something that I've embraced with other, experiences. So that could be eating out at the restaurant. I'll go to lunch by myself. I'll go to dinner by myself. I'll go see, a show by myself. I'll go to the gym by myself. I'll take a workout class by myself. Those are things that I am doing alone, and there are other people around me. And that is allowing me to embrace being by myself, because that's exactly what I'm going to be doing when I'm on this solo trip. I'm going to be doing things by myself. Whatever experience that you're interested in doing, just go do it by yourself. I know you may have friends that may be nearby or like family that you might want to tag along, but think about it. If you're doing an experience by yourself, you may be doing that same thing on your solo trip, but you may feel a little uncomfortable because there are just so many factors. You might not know if people are staring at you. You may think people are talking about you, and you just don't know how to be in a space alone with another group of people around you. So you want to build that confidence that, yeah, I'm here by myself. I'm doing this alone. I want to experience this. I don't have nobody else to do it with. So I'm here solo dolo. I've done so many excursions, activities on my solo travels by myself. And then in the end, I actually made some great connections with people on the same activity. We'll get into that later. But yeah, I just really wanted to put it out there. You have to be comfortable doing things by yourself. And again, start small. You got to be really confident and secure in yourself that, yes, I can go and sit at a table by myself and enjoy that company, because that's just what I'm going to be doing when I solo travel. So yeah, girl, do things alone in your city before you branch out. Moving on into my second one, you must plan accordingly and do your research. So a lot of the places that I've solo traveled, I've done days and nights of research before booking that flight and booking that reservation. And specifically for us, specifically for my Black people, for people of color, you need to be looking up if this is Black people friendly, depending on where you want to go, whether it's a new state, a new city, across the country, a whole other continent. If that is something that you want to embark on, which I'm not saying you should let racism or like the color of your skin deter you from going there, but I highly recommend when you do your research, make sure you're doing research on people who look like you. I think it's very important to understand that a lot of people's experiences will be different, but also keep in mind, if you don't look like the majority of the people there, you may, I'm not saying racism isn't all over, but things just are different in a foreign zone. Like a foreign country, foreign territory, you're by yourself. You just don't really want to... I personally wouldn't go somewhere where I know people of color are just like damn near frowned upon. Like, now that's crazy saying living in the United States of America. I don't think I need to elaborate on that. But, this is my home. I feel safe because I have people around me who can protect me or come to my rescue. Being in a foreign country, you may not have that, depending on where you go. If you know somebody there, good for you. I would just say do your research, and do your research if you are a person of color. Literally include that. Like, I look up black girl solo travels. Solo travels for black people. Solo travel destinations for black people. Like, you just have to make it very specific because you want to know what other people's experiences are in addition to people who look like you. And when you plan, like, you need to do a deep research down to the hotel or like resort that you're staying at. Whenever I travel somewhere, so specifically if I'm going to a metro area, I look to see how close is public transportation to my hotel. So like, if I need to get out and get somewhere real quick and I cannot rely on Uber or a taxi or whatever the case is, how close is some form of public transportation for if I'm in danger, I can get out and get as far away as possible. Or if I'm in a resort and I'm on an island, for example, I'm not saying stay directly close to the airport, but like close enough, like not super far out the way. Now, I did do this before. When I stayed in Guatemala, I was about 2-3 hours away from the airport, but yeah, it was just kind of far. So I guess that's like not applies to every destination that you go to, but wherever the case is fit, if you can stay close by to where, like, if I need to get out somewhere, I know, like, I can navigate myself, like, to get there in a matter of time. Definitely recommend that more than staying 2-3 hours away from the airport like I did in Guatemala. I guess if I did need to get away, thank God I didn't have that situation. Thank God I wasn't in danger and I was protected. But there was the lake that I was staying on. So the lake in Guatemala was 2-3 hours away from the airport, but like I had the lake right there. So like if I needed to get away, I could just hop on a little boat and go. But that wasn't the case, thank God. But I do recommend, make sure that your location has a hotel that is near some form of transportation if you need to like escape. And if you follow me, if you watch my travels, if you ever have a question, 99% of the time I answer DMs. I get DMs about solo traveling all the time. I will let you know if I stayed somewhere specifically, and that's why I always, specifically for solo traveling, I always try to provide my itinerary, because if I felt like this was a safe and enough experience for me that someone else who may solo travel here as well can take from me, I'm gonna give you the whole tea, like word for word, bar for bar. If you need that, I got you. So going into my next thing, number 3, obviously trust your gut. This is so important, and this is important to do before you even go to your destination or before you even book that flight. So a lot of times, I can't really name them because I don't remember, but there will be times where I will look up a destination that I'm very interested in going to, and I just decide, hey, I might solo travel here. I get a feeling as I'm like literally in the midst of doing research, I'll get a feeling that just like turns me all the way off. I no longer want to solo travel there. And I think that's just my gut telling me maybe this isn't a destination that you should solo travel to, or that would be safe enough for you. And so I think that's so important to have before you book anything. And it's also super important to have that while you're on your travel destination, wherever your solo journey is. You need to be like extra aware of your surroundings, obviously, and just like super alert. Being alert also means trusting your gut, because you don't want to be so alert to where the point you're not in the moment, you're not having fun, right? That's when trusting your instincts comes in, because you will know, like your body will kind of react for you before it even happens. So I think knowing how to identify that, just kind of being in tune with yourself is super important. And then also when you're solo traveling, you'll know, like when my body tells me before it happens. If I feel so off, like I'm talking about to the point where I can't even think straight, get me out of there. It's time to go. So from the point of you booking that trip down to when you are at that location, but up to the point where you get home, okay? You need to be trusting your gut throughout this entire journey for your solo travel. Number 5, this is one of my favorites. You need to be open to different experiences, different cultures, and just different opportunities that solo traveling can bring for you. Even solo activities, like if you're at home and you're like going to a restaurant, or like you go see a concert somewhere. Like I'm just thinking about all the times where I was doing an activity solo, and I've met some of literally the most... I just heard something. I'm home by myself. See, that's that gut instinct. You need. Anyways, So yeah, I think when it comes to any solo activity or any time that I've ever solo traveled, I was obviously, I'm gonna go on an excursion, I'm gonna do an activity. Let me give you an example. I was in Guatemala for my 26th birthday. I was on a solo trip and I was doing I was doing a hike on the Pizza Pacaya volcano. Wait, no, backtrack. It's not called Pizza Pacaya volcano. The volcano was called Pacaya. And I did a Pizza Pacaya volcano excursion. Girl, anyways, I was in Guatemala, right? And I was on this excursion and I was paired with a group. And it was a group of 2 other women, which I'm not gonna lie, 2 black women, let me say. I'm in Guatemala and there's 2 black women I think they were from Ohio. In Guatemala, I'm like, oh Lord, I know this is you. Because at first I thought I was gonna be doing the activity by myself, but I never expected to come out of that excursion with a newfound bond with people I would have never met had I not been on this excursion in this moment. So my point is, when you do these activities or when you're solo traveling, be open to meeting new people, be open to having conversations with people. You don't have to give away all of your details, but you can just be open to talking to people because it also kind of sparks an interest. Like, where are you from? Or like, what are you doing here? What do you do for, like, there's just so many ways that conversations can go. And those 2 girls that I met on those trips, those 2 women, I still speak to them to this day. Like, that was, in June of last year. And we still, like, keep up with each other on social media. Like, we'll wish each other well. There's just so many endless opportunities that can be really positive experiences when you are solo traveling. So I definitely recommend. I'm not saying the world can't be an evil place, but there's also some really good people out there. And I'm just so fortunate to come into, cross paths with those people, whether it be long-term or short-term. Like, I've just grown from meeting different people across the world. So I think if that's something you're interested in, like, I personally will always be a student to life. I will always be learning, and I always want to learn from different people, from different paths of life that I may not cross per se, or I may not almost like intersect. Like, that may not be a path that I want to go down, but I'm like curious, like, to know what that's like for that person who just is in a different walk of life. I think I'm getting a little bit deeper than what I wanted to, and I think I'm kind of going off topic, but my point is to just be open to putting yourself out there in a very safe way. This also goes into my last one. Like, you have to trust your gut. Because while you are doing these activities or while you're solo traveling, you want to have fun, but you also want to be aware and keep yourself safe. So when I'm doing these excursions, if my body isn't necessarily like ringing any bells, or if I'm not seeing any red flags with the people that I'm sharing this space with, I'm just gonna immerse myself in it fully. Obviously, I'm still gonna be aware and I'm gonna keep my head on a swivel, and I'm not gonna give away life details. But I'm going to allow myself to have conversations and get to meet and connect with people. That's one of my favorite things to do. And I get to do that so often on solo travel. And then also, wherever you're going, if you're going out the country, I definitely recommend putting yourself into the culture and kind of embracing that as well. I try to do things that are very native to wherever I'm going, whenever I'm traveling there. So, for example, I always speak about Guatemala. By the way, I have a full vlog if you want to check it out. It was such a great time, and it is definitely one of my favorite destinations that I've ever been to. Not just solo traveling. I'm talking about across. I've been to a lot of places, and Guatemala is like definitely in my top 2. I actually just posted the other day, should I go back to Guatemala for my birthday, because I love it so much. I did a cooking class in Guatemala, my first ever cooking class, and I learned so much about Guatemalan culture. Like, the host, he was just so informative and he was so personable, and it just made me feel like I was a part of the culture just for that little bit of time, like the few hours that I did the class. But like, I really got to tour almost what it's like to, I don't want to say live the culture, but I kind of like just put myself in there and like learned so much that I wouldn't have learned unless I did some research or something. So I definitely recommend, like, if you can find a way to put yourself into the culture of the place that you're visiting, I definitely recommend. You'll learn so much, and it's just such a fun time, because I'm trying to think, where else would you get that unless it's there? Now, moving on to my next note. This may not be as common, but I'm gonna just put it out there. Don't tell people that you're solo traveling. Don't just put it out there for the whole world to know. Some people do this. I don't do this unless I am absolutely comfortable letting it be known that yes, I am solo traveling, or if it's just painfully obvious. So for example, Guatemala. When I was in Guatemala and I was doing that volcano hike, and the girls, it was literally the 3 of us. Me by myself and the 2 girls that were part of the, I keep calling them girls, they're like grown women. the 2 women that were also a part of the excursion with me, they asked me like, well, they didn't really ask me. I think they kind of like noticed it. Obviously, if I wasn't comfortable enough, I will lie. I will lie my ass off. So I think you have to, like, again, trust your gut, trust your instinct, learn to know when to say yes. I am solo traveling. I'm not saying I recommend it. If anything, you probably shouldn't. But in this time, I just felt comfortable. And then I ended up spending the entire day with them, which was, I don't think I told my mom about that. So she might be finding out through this video, but I felt safe, you guys. I didn't put myself in a situation where I felt I would be in danger. So yeah, I did end up, after the excursion, I went to dinner with them. Like, these were like my besties for the day. I'm not gonna lie. Like, we was kicking it like we knew each other from way back in. But I think it's just something with Black people. No shade. I probably wouldn't do this if they weren't Black. I'm not saying you could just trust everybody and every person. But I think them being Black and them being women, and like just the way that we were connecting over the excursion, they invited me to a park afterwards, and then we went to dinner. Again, I hung out with them the whole day. Love them. I have had times where I have had to lie. I don't care if you see me walk around this resort by myself the entire 4 or 5 days that I'm there. I'm not here by myself. The first solo trip I've taken was to Antigua in the Caribbean. There was this Black couple. Again, you can't trust everybody. Okay, so these are the 2 different situations. I'm getting off track here. I apologize. So Guatemala, there were 2 Black women that I met. I ended up like hanging out with them. In Antigua, there were 2 Black. I don't know what was going on this week. I kid you not. And it's so funny because when you go to the Caribbean, like, I'm expecting to see Black people as the majority. Anyways, on the resort that I was staying at, it was like filled with European people. So it was me and this other Black couple. We were like the only Black people. And there was like a couple other Black people. But like, I swear, we just kept seeing each other, and the resort was not that big. So I was recognizing who was the Black people on this resort along with me, aside from the staff. So we would like acknowledge each other as Black people do when we're in a foreign space, you know, just, you know, smile and wave. And the girl of the couple, she caught me so off guard. I'm walking to breakfast one day, and like, we're like passing by, but like, I like smile at her because, again, smile and wave. She like came up to me. She was like, oh, like, hey, are you by yourself? I damn near shit myself in that moment. But I practiced, right? I practiced before I got to Antigua. I said, okay, if somebody asks me, are you solo traveling or whatever the case may be? Because again, it is obvious. If you're on a resort or like wherever you putting yourself into, if you're by yourself, people won't recognize this girl is by herself or this boy is by himself. So she came up to me and she was like, are you by yourself? But she didn't ask in like a nosy way. She kind of was like whispered it too. She was like, are you by yourself? And I was like, oh no, I'm here with my dad on a work trip. Mind you, she ain't never seen me with no man, but that's not your business. Now, again, she was probably looking out for me, so like, I'm not putting any like bad on her or whatever, but it caught me so off guard. But I had my line ready. I was like, oh no, like, I'm here with my dad on a work trip, and I kept a straight face. I don't know what you about to do, even if you're not about to do no harm. I don't know who you know. No. And I don't know if it's because she caught me off guard or because it was my first solo trip, but I did have some like, I did kind of freeze in that moment, and I did kind of like, I don't know, I just didn't feel the urge to say, yeah, I am. But in the end, when I did say like, oh, I was here with my dad, she was like, oh, okay, I was just asking because like I think it was her husband or her boyfriend. We just gonna say boyfriend. She was like, oh, me and my boyfriend were like wanting to look after you. Like, because again, we were one of the few Black people on this resort. So I appreciated that. I don't know if that was 100% true, but if that was their true and honest thing that they wanted to do, they could have just did that without coming up to me. But again, not saying anything bad about these people or the person that came up to me. They might have just wanted to like get full confirmation. It did startle me a little bit, so I just said that I was there with my dad on a work trip. But like, shout out to y'all if y'all really wanted to look after me. Like, I greatly appreciate it. That is so nice of you. Like, you know, we gotta stick together. I say that as I damn near shit myself. But yeah, like, whatever, lie your ass off, okay? If someone comes up to you and asks you and you don't feel comfortable, come up with whatever lie you gotta come up with and practice it and stick to it. Stick to the lie. Don't be given 10 different responses. No, and make it short and simple. Like I said, I'm here with my dad on a work trip. And it was not, but you don't need to know that. Yeah, I think we covered the bases as far as solo traveling. I think any other tips that I may have apply to traveling as a whole, so I'm not even going to get into that. I also clearly don't know how to stay on track with these topics, so I'm not about to give me anything else for my brain to like wander or for you to be like, girl, what are we talking about right now? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this was helpful. And if you are planning your solo trip, or if you have any questions, like if I didn't answer anything, feel free to message me on Instagram or TikTok. I'll leave it on the screen, or I'll have it linked in my bio as always, or you can comment down below. Whichever way you can contact me and you have any questions about solo traveling, or if I went somewhere that you want to know more about, hit me up. I got you. I'm still answering questions about Guatemala till this day. I went in June of 2024. It is March 2025. And I'm still happily answering questions. Whatever you need, I got you. Like, I'm not a gatekeeper. I don't gatekeep. Yeah, I hope this video was super helpful. Comment down below if you found this useful, if this helped you, if this gave you the confidence to book that trip. If you've been needing a sign to book that solo trip, here you go. I got you, girl. I hope, or guy. You know, I keep saying girl, and this is catered to everybody. I hope that when you do eventually embark on that solo journey, I hope it is the best trip ever, because that's how I feel every time I solo travel. I'm like, I want to move here. This is the best trip ever. Like, I hope it's a great time for you. I hope you stay safe. Make sure you are always letting people know that you speak to on a daily what you're doing. They have your location. Like, practice safety tips that you would do if regular traveling, not solo specifically, but also remember to have fun. I want you to have fun. I don't want you to go on this trip and be stressed and worried about, you know, stepping outside of the hotel room because you're scared that the world may know you're alone. I promise you, it's not as scary. It is a little scary, but so is everyday life. You got to take those risks, okay? And put yourself out there and have the best time. And honestly, if you do take your solo trip, if this video has inspired you to take your solo trip, when you get back, let me know. I want to hear all about it. I want to hear all the stories. I want to hear all the great things you did. And you might give me an idea to go there too, if I haven't been there already. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you stuck all the way through the end, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and comment down below. And also subscribe. You guys, I don't know if you've seen this hair. So yeah, I just got my hair done because I'm about to go on another vacation. But this is going to be a girls trip, which is also just as fun. So if you like travel vlogs... I do be traveling and I do be vlogging. So like, subscribe to my channel so you can see this upcoming vlog that I have for you guys. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to hear about your journeys and whatever you decide to do. Or again, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time.